And welcome back to Good Day. We do live in a wonderful place, but sometimes there are some not so wonderful things that happen, and that's why awareness and the push to prevent them takes all of us.
One of those issues we all need to be made aware of is human trafficking and the understanding that it does happen here. So how do we prevent it? We welcome in Karen Staub from the Wexford-Missaukee Child Protection Council. Thank you so much for being here today, Karen.
Thanks. Thank you.
So kind of before we get into protecting ourselves from this, tell us a little bit about where we're at. Let us know what the facts are.
Well, often a lot of times people will ask for statistics, and I truly don't pay attention to specific statistics because they change so often. But the one thing that we are paying attention to is the fact that it is growing exponentially. And a lot of people, we all like to think that it's not happening in our area or it's never going to affect us. And just like, you know, I see you guys often in April for Child Abuse Prevention Month. So just like child abuse, it affects all of us, no matter if it's happening right in front of us or not. It does affect us. And these are some of the things that we want people to make sure that they know, that they are aware of. And some of the things that have really shocked me over the years in gathering information and going to different seminars and trainings and stuff like that is that it is actually the they're the fastest growing industry in the world. It is surpassing the drug trade. And often the two go hand in hand. And we really need to be mindful of vigilant of that. So that's kind of why the Human Trafficking Prevention Coalition used to exist maybe like about 10 years ago. And then they did some awareness raising efforts in the community, and then they just dissolved. And they're trying to reform and kind of get going again to do that prevention piece in the area. And because it has direct ties back to child abuse and neglect, that's why the Child Protection Council stepped up and said, yes, we'll kind of help you guys get this going. And there's other people involved from other organizations who are all coming together to do the same thing. Recognizing that it is something that affects us all, and that we all play a role in prevention.
Absolutely.
I appreciate that you're here, Karen, because I feel like part of the reason people just don't believe it is because we don't talk a lot about it. And
we don't talk
hear
about
a lot
it. And honestly, I hate talking about it. Let's be clear. I would rather be talking about gardening or something else.
And I'm curious too, because I mean, part of me thinks it's got to have something to do with. I mean, we think we're in a small town, or all of northern Michigan. We're in rural areas. This isn't really as much of an issue per se as it would be in a major city. But with our location here, I mean, we're not far from I-75, the corridors for travel, borders. I mean, we've got a lot of potential threats just geographically that make us kind of ripe for some of this stuff, don't we?
Yes, absolutely. And that is one of the big reasons why Michigan is prime for that type of thing. All of those things that you mentioned do come into play. And with whether it's human trafficking, child abuse, substance use, suicide, like all of these things have their direct ties back to childhood. And that's why we all play that specific role in prevention. If we are more mindful of those things as our children are growing up, and we remain connected to them and remain in that attachment relationship with our children and help them as they grow, and never get to the point where we're thinking that, oh, they're okay on their own. Even as adults, our adult children need us as well. Then we're much more mindful of the things that can be going on and happening. So all of those things are kind of coming together to
factors.
How can we as individuals not just protect our own families, but maybe even shift the needle a little bit in the positive direction? Because it seems like every year this issue is getting worse and worse.
Yeah.
How can we make this better?
Well, it is getting worse and worse. And like you guys were just talking about, the whole issue of cybercrime and stuff like that. all of those things, they kind of existed in pockets here and there, but with the rise of technology, okay, the rise of social media, it's connecting these people around the world like it never has before. And if somebody is doing something and they know it's wrong, they're going to try to do it secretly or try to hopefully quit, but because they're getting connected, they're seeing it as, oh, this is okay.
Yeah.
This is more common. So you have a rise through social media. Our kids are in social media more. They're getting connected. We all, as human beings, need a connection. We need to know that we count in this world, that somebody cares for us, that somebody sees us, and when kids aren't getting that in their personal relationships, either with their friends or their family, they're going to go looking for it somewhere else, and that's where the whole social media thing comes in, and it can just get way out of hand, way too
Really
quick.
fast.
Yes, that whole issue of extortion. Or sextortion that happens with a lot of our youth. I don't want to say a lot of our youth, but we're seeing it more and more.
A good number,
yes,
yeah.
we are. And, having those talks with our kids on a daily basis. I know that my children are 40, 38, and 36, and 23. And the difference between my 23-year-old and my older 3 is social media and the internet.
Sure.
I did not have that when the older ones were growing up. We didn't have to navigate through all that. But with my younger one, we did, and we had constant talks. With my older kids, the topic of human trafficking never came up, ever. With my younger one, all the time. All the time.
We just have about a minute left, Karen, but I'm curious in terms of just us talking more about it.
Yes.
How much of a factor will that be maybe in not just awareness, but maybe stopping some of this? Because we don't,
Yes.
I mean, we get a press release from the state police every time there's a rollover accident, but we're not hearing regularly about these incidents happening even anywhere across the state.
Yes, exactly. And that's kind of one of the problems. If we don't hear about it, then it's not happening and it's okay. But it is happening. It's happening on, very low levels and very high levels and everywhere in between. And that's why the Human Trafficking Prevention Coalition kind of reformed. They're doing that seminar this weekend, which is at St. Anne's Church on Saturday from 9 to 1. We're going to have a few speakers in. Michigan State Police is going to be there talking with us. All that sort of stuff is going to be happening. So it's getting those conversations up and going and knowing, just recognizing that yes, it is happening and that we all play a role in prevention. Just like with child abuse and neglect, we all have a role to play, and we have to kind of get in that mode of getting away from being such a reactionary society and seeing the horrific story on the news and going, oh my gosh, what can we do? To recognizing that it's those everyday little actions that we can be doing. Whether it's looking out for one another, connecting with a child who, doesn't have a mentor. Those type of things make a huge difference in those type of prevention efforts.
Well, Karen Staub with the Child Protection Council, thank you so much. We'll
so
share
much
the
for
interview
coming
and the
in
details,
today.
of course, will be on
Perfect.
910news.com.
Perfect. Thank you
so
guys.
much.
Karen.
You have a
Great
good
to
day.
have you.
Yes, you too.
And we will be right back with more Good Day.